How would you feel knowing one of history's most controversial and outspoken philosophers once declared that men and women differ not just physically, but fundamentally, in their very essence? What if I told you that modern scientific studies, hidden data, and centuries of quietly suppressed history shockingly prove Diogenes was terrifyingly accurate? In today's video, you're about to uncover 10 dark truths about the nature of women through the brutally honest, sharp lens of Diogenes. The truths academia today would rather erase from history altogether, just to keep you from knowing. But understand clearly, this isn't an attack. It's a necessary truth to master your relationships, your life, and even society itself. Diogenes, known famously as the dog philosopher due to his brutally straightforward attitude, didn't hesitate to claim that while men are driven by logic and the desire for freedom, women are driven by possession, vanity, and fleeting emotions. To him, this wasn't a personal insult. It was a piercing observation of reality. Surprisingly, modern neuroscience seems to accidentally support his claims. In fact, a 2012 study published in the Journal of Neuroscience found that women's brains tend to be more active in areas associated with emotion processing and impulsive decision-making. What does this mean? It means women don't just experience emotions more intensely. Many of their critical decisions are guided more strongly by internal impulses than rational logic. Now, let's look back at history to understand this further. Diogenes harshly criticized the women of ancient Athens who were willing to trade dignity for status or petty rivalries. He warned that feelings like jealousy and envy in women could easily manipulate even the most powerful leaders, leading to unpredictable chaos. Indeed, history confirms this clearly. Take Helen of Sparta, whose impulsive emotions sparked the decade-long Trojan War in the 5th century BCE, claiming thousands of lives, all because of one brief emotional lapse. Fast forward to our modern society in 2024. Has it really changed that much? How many men today have lost their careers, had their lives shattered, or even been falsely imprisoned, all due to one impulsive emotional moment from the woman beside them? Divorce courts, lawsuits over emotional distress, and countless false accusations are no longer just theory. They're today's reality. In ancient Greece, Diogenes warned, "Give women total control driven by emotion, and they'll weaponize it, potentially destroying society." Looking at our current systems of law, divorce settlements, asset division, and emotional litigation, his warning seems eerily prophetic. But let's dig even deeper into this truth. Women's intense emotions aren't merely a weakness, they're actually an incredibly powerful tool. When you truly understand the emotional nature of women, you can predict every action, every behavior, and even their deepest psychological drives. Diogenes believed women live in endless emotional cycles, moving from love to anger to manipulation and back to compassion, repeatedly, in a loop that never stops. The man who sees this clearly doesn't fight female nature. He masters and guides it. Yet emotion is only the surface. Diogenes warned of an even deeper, darker driving force behind female behavior. A primal instinct shaped over millennia, secretly controlling even your actions without your awareness. Get ready to discover this truth, because it will completely overturn everything you thought you knew about women, about love, and even about yourself. Now it's time to open the door to the hidden, primal instinct that's influenced women from the age of Diogenes, right up to this very moment. Diogenes, the infamous rebel philosopher of ancient Greece, famously wandered the streets of Athens carrying a lantern in broad daylight, claiming he was searching for an honest man. Yet among his most brutally honest insights were his cold but clear-eyed observations about women. While ancient Greek society indulged in romantic ideals, Diogenes merely smirked. labeling romance as nothing more than a sophisticated game of self-interest disguised as love. In his view, love, from a woman's perspective, is little more than a transactional exchange, a calculated bargain where emotions are traded for wealth, stability, or social status. Diogenes was never fooled by sweet words, passionate gazes, or eternal promises. He knew beneath the glittering surface of romance lay calculated survival strategies. What's truly unsettling is that modern science quietly supports his harsh assessment. A 2016 study published in the prestigious journal Science Advances analyzed millions of online dating messages, revealing a chilling truth. Women consistently showed more initiative and communicated far more frequently with men who displayed higher income, superior education, and elevated social status. Men perceived as equal or lower status, meanwhile, were largely overlooked and met with silence. Face this uncomfortable reality head-on. This isn't the pure, unconditional love society likes to paint. It's an optimized strategy for security and benefit, carefully hidden beneath sweet gestures, loving words, or even extravagant weddings. This explains precisely why poor or unsuccessful men rarely experience unconditional love. Because the conditions were quietly established long before the first "I love you" was ever spoken. Diogenes recognized this brutal reality over 2,000 years ago. And this truth continues to unfold every single day, in conversations, text messages, and dates happening all around you. So the question is, knowing this hidden reality, does anyone genuinely believe in pure love anymore? Or are you also unknowingly participating in this calculated game of emotional exchange? Diogenes, the legendary rebel philosopher who openly mocked the hypocrisy of ancient Athens, once famously laughed in the face of a wealthy nobleman, boasting proudly about his wife's loyalty. Diogenes coldly replied, "Loyal? Yes, she'll remain loyal, at least until the gold in your purse runs dry." Hidden behind those seemingly harsh words is a bitter truth, confirmed by countless examples throughout history. Cleopatra, the powerful queen of ancient Egypt, readily abandoned men who once knelt at her feet the moment their power collapsed. When Julius Caesar fell, she quickly shifted her attention to Mark Antony. And when Antony faced defeat, the great queen wasted no time in distancing herself, prioritizing her own survival rather than going down with the sinking ship. But Cleopatra isn't an isolated case. She's merely a classic example among countless others in history. Queens who vowed eternal devotion to mighty kings swiftly turned their backs as soon as the crown slipped away, and the throne became a distant memory. Their loyalty was never unconditional. It always came with strings attached to power, status, and wealth. Today, cold, hard social statistics confirm exactly what Diogenes observed over 2,000 years ago. Recent data shows that women initiate nearly 70% of all divorces, and most of these filings happen shortly after their partner loses his job, goes bankrupt, or can no longer sustain the lifestyle he initially promised. All evidence points clearly to an uncomfortable reality. Women's loyalty isn't the unconditional expression of eternal love many people believe. It's more accurately described as an invisible contract, one that gets torn up the moment its conditions disappear. Diogenes exposed this brutal truth long before modern society dared to admit it. But now, confronted with this harsh reality, do people truly still believe in unconditional loyalty? Or is this merely another sweet illusion we've convinced ourselves to believe? Diogenes lived proudly in poverty, famously choosing to sleep in a wooden barrel in the middle of Athens, rather than bow to the fake morality of society. When asked why he refused to marry, Diogenes responded with a cold, knowing smile. "Why would I bind myself to someone who worships power and advantage, not virtue?" A brief yet brutally honest answer, revealing a harsh truth hidden beneath layers of moral hypocrisy that few dare to acknowledge. History itself has repeatedly confirmed Diogenes' bitter observation. When Alexander the Great swept across Europe and Asia, conquering kingdoms with ruthless dominance, women lined up willingly to become his concubines. They didn't care whether Alexander was good or moral. What mattered was his absolute power. To women, the victor alone deserved submission, regardless of whether his victory came soaked in the blood and tears of others. Today, modern psychology has given this phenomenon a clear name: the dark triad, a combination of dominance, arrogance, and ruthlessness. Countless studies confirm that women are irresistibly drawn to men with these dangerous traits. Ironically, the more ruthlessly confident, emotionally detached, and cold-hearted a man is, the more effortlessly he attracts women. Women may say they prefer kind, gentle, and compassionate men, yet reality reveals precisely the opposite. Virtue alone simply isn't attractive enough to hold their interest for long. Nice, considerate men who lack power and strength often receive nothing more than indifference, or even disdain. Diogenes understood this harsh reality more than 2,000 years ago. He clearly saw through to the heart of female nature, that they'd rather kneel before a ruthless conqueror than dine with a gentle saint. And even today, this bitter truth hasn't changed. Diogenes, ancient Athens' most infamous rebel philosopher, shocked society by openly urinating in public or mocking its most sacred social rules. But beneath this rebellion was a chilling truth Diogenes sought to expose, a truth society has always tried to keep hidden. Women possess the ultimate weapon: judgment. Even in ancient Athens, where men dominated every aspect of life, women held immense power by manipulating honor and status through whispered insinuations or subtle glances of disdain. Diogenes watched the strongest men collapse under the seemingly harmless judgments of women. The terrifying reality was clear: a man's honor, pride, and position could easily crumble from just one sentence, one suspicion, or a gentle accusation. History has repeated this story countless times across thousands of years. Powerful emperors lost their crowns because of a queen or concubine's casual accusation. Brave generals, victorious in countless battles, have been swiftly defeated when women wielded public opinion and morality like invisible whips against their reputations. In today's world, this invisible power is even more brutal. A single accusation, a social media post, or just a dismissive glance in public can ruin a man's career, reputation, and even his life. This hidden influence grants women the ability to topple the mightiest empires without weapons, armies, or official authority. This is the silent kingdom women rule, a world that's invisible but devastatingly powerful, where shame, guilt, and public opinion are the sharpest weapons of all. Diogenes openly called out this power because he knew whoever controls judgment truly controls society. And that's exactly what makes women's greatest weapon the most terrifying force in history. Diogenes never truly hated women. What he genuinely despised was men's weakness and dependence when caught in the whirlwind of romance and desire. Diogenes didn't view women as enemies. He saw them simply as the ultimate test, the final obstacle every man must overcome to achieve absolute freedom. To Diogenes, a truly wise man treats desire for women exactly as he treats gold, power, or fame, not with hatred, nor by trying to eliminate it, but with complete indifference. He remains indifferent because he understands that as long as a man seeks validation or fulfillment from women, he remains forever a slave. In Diogenes' uncompromising view, true freedom doesn't come from being loved, desired, or admired by a woman. Instead, freedom emerges only when a man requires absolutely nothing from her: no attention, no approval, and certainly no love. History proves this clearly. The greatest figures who've ever walked the earth, Socrates, the Buddha, Jesus Christ, never lived their lives to be objects of female desire. Instead, they dedicated themselves entirely to pursuing ultimate truth. And because of that, women could never use love to control or manipulate them. These extraordinary men had no romantic attachments, yet earned something infinitely more valuable: the eternal respect and admiration of humanity. The true power of women has always been their ability to choose which men deserve love and validation. But when confronted by a man who genuinely needs no validation from them, their power instantly dissolves. Such a man can never be subdued because he has already passed the ultimate test. For Diogenes, this is the final truth. Women lose all power the moment a man stops needing anything from them. Only then is he truly free.